The Jets.
The Jets.
The Jets. The New York Jets.
The Jets Ward.
Jets, Jets. What is going on, Jet fans? And welcome back to another episode of The Jets Ward. I am your host, Ryan Ward, and I'm so excited to be back with you guys. I got a fun one for you guys. Talking a little draft coming up in 2026 and players that the Jets could possibly be interested. And today, we have a fun one because two really solid college teams played each other, and Jets general manager Darren Mougey was in attendance to watch it. Now, before we get into it, if you have been here before, welcome back. You know I love having you guys here in the Jets Board. It is a safe space for you, and I love that you keep coming back. If you are new here, welcome. Whether you're a Jets fan, a fan of another team, or just a casual NFL fan, you are always welcome here in the Jets Board. It is a safe space for you. Now let's get into it. Like I just said, Darren Mougey, the general manager of the New York Jets, was in attendance for the Oregon Ducks versus the Penn State Nittany Lions. Oregon is ranked number 6 in the nation. Penn State ranked number 3. So it's a big clash going on here. Two solid teams. Oregon being 4-0, Penn State being 3-0. And it was a thriller, honestly. The first half was kind of a dud. Went into halftime tied 3-3. But when they came out, Oregon started moving the ball, and the offense started to come alive. Penn State didn't really come alive until the fourth quarter. They started moving the ball, they started responding, and it ended up causing this game to go in double overtime, where the Oregon Ducks end up beating the Penn State Nittany Lions 30-24. But again, guys, very exciting, and it got me thinking. Darren Mougey was in attendance for this game because there were so much talent in this game. But I got 6 players that I think that Darren Mougey was very interested in, and 10 could fill some big holes on this team. Now, I'm going to save the biggest ones and obvious ones for last because I know who you guys are thinking about already. I'm going to get into some not so common ones. And one of the biggest needs that our New York Jets have at this moment, Jermaine Johnson has been out. And we've been having to deal with Michael Clemens or a Tyler Barron or a Braden McGregor going in and being on the opposite side of Will McDonald. We lack D-line, mainly edge depth. So one of the big players I think Darren Mougey was going to look for today was an edge rusher, and there were a couple good ones in this game. But first, we're going to talk about the first one, who showed out really well and has been very, very good for this Nittany Lions team, and that's Danny Dennis Sutton, defensive end/edge rusher from Penn State. He's 6'5", 272 pounds. The guy's just an animal. He's very aggressive. He was very violent and bit in the backfield basically all the time today, and had a really, really cool pick at the end of the game, which if the Nittany Lions just scored and went for a 2-point conversion, they could have won. He intercepted the ball on a 2-point conversion, which could have helped Penn State win in double overtime. But the guy is just electric. He fires off the ball. He contains the edge very, very good. He's aggressive. He's great in the run-stopping game. He's great in the pass rush game. The guy can translate into a very, very good player into the NFL. And he's one player that I would love if the Jets targeted. Now, if the Jets are picking in the top end of the draft, will this guy go there? I'm not so sure. I could see him being basically a middle round pick because I think there's just so much great offensive talent. He's one of the better edge rushers in college football, but I think he's going to tend to fall in the first round. So if the Jets end up winning games and we end up wanting to keep Justin Fields, then this guy becomes a possibility, in my opinion. I think he could be very, very good in the NFL, and I think Aaron Glenn would love this guy on his defense. He just plays very smart. He's aggressive. He's physical, and I just think he's a smart player and can do everything on the edge. And if you needed to desperately, you can move him in on the inside as well. And again, Penn State Nittany Lions edge rushers tend to translate very well in the NFL. Micah Parsons being a very, very good example of that right now. And Abdul Carter, I think, will translate as well when the Giants start giving him more reps. So Danny Dennis Sutton could be the next one. So I think Darren Mougey was there to watch him as today. Another player that I think he was there to watch, Oregon Ducks tight end, Kenyon Sadiq. Now, you might be thinking, why would he be there to watch a tight end? We just drafted Mason Taylor in the second round. Kenyon Sadiq is very, very talented. He's a very good blocker, but he's a very good receiver as well. And in this offense, you want to be able to run the ball. And what would make this team so good is having that number 2 tight end or a number 1 tight end that is able to hold his own in the block game. And Sadiq can do that. The guy's just a monster out there and is just very talented, very quick, great hands, solid receiver. I think one of the most talented players in this upcoming draft. I think he can be very, very good. And aligning him with Mason Taylor and Garrett Wilson as a wide receiver, you can line this guy up in the slot. You can line him up as a tight end, running the seam routes. He is a matchup nightmare. I think the Jets would definitely be interested in him to pair him with a Mason Taylor. I think that could be very deadly because we're talking about trying to add a number 2 receiver. But if this guy can be that number 2 receiver / tight end, that basically a weapon that can help in the blocking game, run game, and in the receiving game, I think he could be very, very useful in this Jets offense. He's 6'3", 240 pounds. He had 6 receptions for 49 yards, 0 touchdowns today. Penn State really tried to shut him down and not get him going. But overall, he's been dominant in college football and somebody that I think Mougey would have been very interested in, and Aaron Glenn would be very interested in, and Tanner Engstrand as well. I think could use this guy as a big weapon in our offense. But getting into the next player, we got Zane Durant, defensive tackle from Penn State. And you're probably thinking defensive tackle. We got Quinnen Williams. We got Harrison Phillips. We got Juwan Briggs. But other than that, we don't really have much rotation pieces after that. And this guy brings something completely different than what a Harrison Phillips and a Juwan Briggs does. This guy is more of a dominant pass rushing ability, and we have Leonard Taylor III, but I don't know how this team feels about him. And he keeps getting pushed down the depth chart. We have Jay Tufele coming in back, and it's just interesting to see what they're going to do with him. Having this guy come in and be a rotational defensive tackle and being another dominant figure who you could bump out to edge rusher as well, the guy is very talented. He's undersized for a defensive tackle, but he makes up for it in aggressiveness, in speed, off the ball, and just overall talent. The kid is a monster, and Penn State really does have a great defensive front. I could have talked about their other defensive tackle as well, but I think this guy would fit the New York Jets defense a lot more. Solid in the run games, even better in the pass rush game. I think he could be doing very well in the NFL. He's 6'1", 294 pounds. Overall, just a great, great player. So I think Jets would be interested in him on our defense as well. Continuing on to the next one, I got edge rusher Matayo Uiagalelei from the Oregon Ducks. And this is another one, just like Danny Dennis Sutton. This kid is a dominant, imposing figure on the edge. And having him come in next year to be a rotational piece, a situational edge rusher, or even just a guy you can bounce in and out on the defensive line to give Will McDonald a break on run defending downs, I think Uiagalelei could be very good. He's 6'5", 270 pounds, great in run defense, great going after the quarterback, very, very athletic. You could bump him out to linebacker if you need it as well. I think he's talented enough to do that and has that raw athleticism to be able to cover. I think Dennis Sutton could do the same thing. But overall, I think both of those players I would be very, very happy with. I think Uiagalelei goes above Dennis Sutton Jr., but I think both would fit this defense so perfectly for the Jets and be great Aaron Glenn guys. But now, guys, I understand who you're here for. The two biggest players that Darren Mougey is probably at this game for is the quarterbacks. So first quarterback that I want to talk about is Drew Allar. And a lot of people are down on Allar. I saw some mock drafts already of him not even making it in the first round. I just want to say I am a Penn State fan, so I might be a little biased on this, but I think Drew Allar is definitely a top 3 quarterback in this draft coming up. I think he has the skill set. He didn't look great today in the first 3 quarters. And again, you want a quarterback to be consistent in all 3 quarters or all 4 quarters of a game. But you also want him to be clutch. And this is going to be a little bit of an issue too, because Drew Allar threw a game-ending pick today in double overtime, and it didn't look great. But he fought his ass off to get that team back into the game, from down so many points to tying it up, to putting his team above in the first overtime, to putting his team in a winning position. The defense just couldn't hold the Oregon Ducks offense. So Drew Allar, going into a little bit of his stats, he's 6'5", 238 pounds. He's not going to be the most mobile quarterback, but he can run if he has to. He made some big plays with his legs today. He has a solid arm. He had a beautiful pass today for a touchdown to march down the field. He had a rough day, I will say that, in the first part of the game, most of the quarters. Fourth quarter was really when he shined. But people worry about his consistency. I think that in a stable and right situation, he could be very, very, very good quarterback in the NFL. I think he's got a cannon of an arm. I think he's solid in the pocket. Needs to work on when he gets pressured, because he can tend to throw off his back foot. But that still, older players do that too when they're getting pressured. Today he went 14 for 25, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and it was a bad interception. But I still am high on Drew Allar. I think he's still a solid quarterback. Needs to work on some things, but I think he has the traits to be one of the better quarterbacks in this draft class coming up. So for the people who are down on him, they might point to this game and be like, well, those first 3 quarters and that last pick weren't great, and I would agree with you. But overall, I think he can translate. I think he's going to get better and better. Again, he doesn't have great weapons already. Tyler Warren last year was his best weapon. He's an Indianapolis Colt now, and he's doing very good for them. But he doesn't have any other solid weapons. His running back is okay, but receivers-wise, pretty down. And tight end-wise, not the best. So he's working with not much. But he's still 3-1, and he's still playing solid football over in Penn State. So Allar, I think that the old regime was high on him. I think this new regime is going to be high on him as well. See what they can do with him. But a lot of people aren't talking about this young man either. And that is Dante Moore, the quarterback of the Oregon Ducks. He played very well today. Again, first half, not great. But second half, he came alive as well and got these guys moving. Was using his legs to make some plays, maneuvering in the pocket, making some beautiful throws as well. Again, he's on the smaller side. He's 6'3", 210 pounds. Went 29 for 39 today for 248 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Made it count when he needed to. Very clutch for them today. And a guy who I think is going to skyrocket up boards. He's a very, very good young man. He's getting that Oregon Ducks offense moving as well. And they have some good players there. But he is the leader of that team. He's still young, so there's things he needs to work on as well. But overall, the kid is very, very good. And I think he's going to go way up on draft boards and end up being probably number 4 or number 5 on the quarterbacks list of who people will want. Maybe 6, because I know Mendoza from Indiana has been having a monster year so far and has looked like the best quarterback in college football. So I think he's going to skyrocket up boards. I know Dom C is a big fan of his as well. So make sure you check his channel out. He does a lot of great college stuff. So make sure you check out his channel. He's awesome as well. But Dante Moore is a player you need to keep watching because he is very, very talented. And I think he can be very, very good in this league when he gets drafted. But again, guys, those are the players that I think Darren Mougey, for the New York Jets general manager, went to see today at the Penn State and Oregon game. It was a great battle. went into double overtime. Great game. Let me know what you guys think of it. Who do you think Darren Mougey went to see? If you're a fan of another team, would you be interested in any of these guys? Were you interested in any of these guys from Oregon or Penn State? Let me know down in the comments. And again, thank you so much for joining me in the JETS Jets Ward. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
The Jets Ward.